Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan here with you at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome as the Saints a winning streak we've got here. We get to talk about it here on Facebook Live. The Saints hold on to a 41-38 win. And actually, last year didn't the Saints lose 41-38 to a much better Panthers team? But the Saints took a big lead, and you kind of knew the way the Saints have played all year. Doesn't matter if it's 21 points, 100 points, it's never safe. And the Saints are going to have to scratch and claw. But look, they were able to do it, and the rookie kicker comes up big, game-winning field goal, and gets the Saints to 2-3.
No shortage of drama with the New Orleans Saints this season, right? It's like a Jerry Springer episode every Sunday with these guys. I mean, this time they emerged victorious. In week one, we were all gathered around Will Lutz's locker when he missed the 61-yarder, drifted to the left, and everybody was despondent in there. Today, the ball splits the uprights, and Saints now are, of course, throwing parades down on Canal Street. But this is the way the NFL is, and this is the way this New Orleans Saints team is. Their defense obviously has a lot of attrition on the back end, and they're just having to scramble, try and make a few plays, and hang on. And I was really impressed that Carolina came back, because they really looked like they were on their heels, down 21-0, but they showed some championship resiliency and came back and give the Saints credit for putting them away there at the end and finishing the game for once.
Right. I mean, we've seen the Saints lose these type of games before where they're up big, and especially against a team against like Carolina. It seems like Carolina can always kind of figure things out. It'd be a little different if this were, say, Tampa or Atlanta. The Saints always tend to win these games, but Carolina's always so back and forth. And look, to me, at least shows the Saints, it's not
progress.
Right, they're making progress. It's not like they're just going in the tank. To me, all you got to do is watch Cam Newton's press conference after the game. It was 90 seconds, and he was very despondent. You could see that the wheels are falling off in Carolina. At least for the Saints, they don't have this attitude of, well, the season's going down the tank, because look, they can reach 500 next week if they're able to pull off the win at Kansas City.
And I think more importantly, we're seeing some progress on the defensive side of the ball, where so many young players are being forced into action. I think you said tonight, 9 pass breakups, or it was that Josh Cass's team was saying 9 pass breakups in this game. That might be the most we've seen in the last 5 years. In the first half alone, they had 7 quarterback hits on Cam Newton, 2 sacks. So we're starting to see some things, some facets of this team make improvement that we haven't seen. We know the offense is there. I mean, Drew Brees threw for 465 yards. I haven't had time to look it up, but that's got to be one of the highest totals against Carolina in the last 5 years since they've had this great defense.
Well, Matt Ryan put up 503 a couple weeks ago, so I think the game plan coming in was to throw, and throw again, and the Saints did that. And you mentioned, look, the Saints' offensive line is even more beat up. Andres Pete left the game. Tony Hills is in there. He's picking up penalties, doing this and that, but they were able to keep Drew Brees upright, even though he was getting knocked around a little bit too. But you just knew this game was going to be back and forth. And Drew Brees even said it. He said, look, this is going to be a 4-quarter game. Didn't matter. They were up 21-0. They knew they could not get let up at all, even though it looked like maybe they did. I just think Carolina, improved. I don't think it was more like the Saints were falling all over themselves. I think just Carolina kind of got themselves back into the game.
And I think it was indicative of where the Saints are at, that Sean Payton at the end of the game and Drew Brees both talked about how they didn't want to leave any time on the clock for Carolina. I mean, they were so concerned. They were less concerned with how much yardage they were going to have to kick from than they were how much time was on the clock, because they knew their defense was kind of reeling there at the end. Carolina was moving it pretty much at will on their secondary. So really, this was just whoever had the ball last, one of those kind of basketball games. And Lutz kicks the game winner. And that was, by the way, the longest game-winning field goal of the Sean Payton Drew Brees era. As a matter of fact, the 52-yarder was the longest, as far as I could find research-wise, since 1994. It may go back even further. We know it's not the longest ever. Tom Dempsey will always have that record. But nevertheless, it's a rare sight to see a game winner from that far away.
And you can kind of see within this locker room, I think people are starting to buy in. Are they good enough to go on a run? I don't want to say yes, because I still think they're certainly a flawed team. And look, they're winning these nail-biting games as opposed to losing them. But the fact of the matter is they play them every week. And it's always close. And I mean, look, they're still giving up 33 points per game on average. So that's not a recipe for winning every week. But I think you're right. We are seeing improvement, which is a plus.
And look, Atlanta dropped a tough one out in Seattle today. So now here you are. You're 2-3. You haven't played your best football, and the winning team in the division right now, the first place team, is only 4-2. Albeit you've dropped a game at home to them, but nevertheless, no one's running away with the NFC South right now. So you got a little momentum. Now they got to go on the road and play a very tough Kansas City team in a very hostile environment. If they were able to pull that one off, then I think you've really got something to talk about.
Yeah, and they would reach 500 more quickly than they had in 14 and 15, where they both reached 4-4, but the wheels fell off. If the Saints get to 3-3, you never know. I mean, let's be honest. They've pulled off some surprises. Who knows? I don't want to give false hope, but they're playing better.
One other thing I wanted to mention that we didn't talk about was the explosive plays. I mean, that was a problem with this team all last season. No chunk plays, no big plays. Today we saw them in bushelfuls in this game. And that's another element of this team that they have to get back with this offense to overcome their deficiencies on defense.
Well, yeah, you saw Brandon Cooks. And look, even punt return, Tommy Lewis, 59-yard punt return. I mean, we haven't seen that regularly, and that's why he's on the team. So you're starting.
Coby Fleener.
Right, Coby Fleener, big play. Hey, he's... People
are off a little lucky, but they'll take
people are off his back maybe for a little bit. So, but yeah, again, Saints pull off a big win for them, and they can reach 500 next week up at Kansas City. So for Larry Holder, for Jeff Duncan, thanks for joining us here on Facebook Live.